guys. Welcome to the Hot Tub Club where inspiration bubbles up. I'm your host, Samara Renee, and today we have an amazing guest with a special story that she wants to share with us. I am so excited to bring in the Mama Extraordinaire,
Aw.
the Business Woman of the Year, I'm telling you, and the Hot Wife of the Year. This is Ashlynn Landreth. Welcome to the Hot Tub Club.
Well, hello. Glad to be here. That was a hell of an intro, I must say. Shoot, you're talking me up.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. This is
Oh my God.
the jack of all trades, the person that people go to when
Yeah,
the whole world falls apart. They pick
honestly,
up the phone and call Ashlynn and say, Ashlynn.
a line out of my office.
So today we're going to talk about Ashlynn's story. Let's first start off how me and Ashlynn know each other and how we got
Yeah,
to know each
we
other.
sing to each other. We bonded over the beautiful notes of her voice going into your office.
Oh my God. Yeah, with this, with Ashley, how Ashley started the singing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. The singing was so necessary, and I feel like bonded us so much. I feel like we were very nice with each other, and then the singing kind of bonded us closer. I feel like,
I
but
think that was the beginning. It was an introduction to the realness because me and Ashlyn, we know each other. We work at the same organization, and she's a lifesaver. If
oh,
the whole world could fall apart, and she would put it back together with a bow on it and make it look pretty.
there it is.
We all work in the same office, and I've been working at her job for like 5 years in July. You've been there 7 or 8 years now?
7.
7.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll be 7 in October.
You know, the
Wild.
number one question I should ask is, how have you survived? Because you have the most demanding job,
A little bit, a little bit.
the most demanding job out of everybody in our organization. And that's saying a lot for what everyone does.
Nonprofit life.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wear hats on rotation. It's just like what, just
Yeah.
rotating. No, it's definitely a job that I'm never bored in. And the second I'm like, oh my God, all my tasks are done, then it's like bah, 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 10 more come right at you, and then people are come with like great stories. It's amazing guys you work with. I was in a meeting today, and my door opens, and I'm like, I hope it's a hug. I hope it's a
Oh,
hug. And it's one of our clients named CJ, who, oh my
hey,
God.
Bye.
Yeah, he's literally Winnie
He's
the
so
Pooh in
sweet.
person, and he gives the most magical hugs. And he comes in, I'm like, hi, bud. He's like, can I have a hug? I'm like, yes. And I gave
So
him a hug
sweet.
right in the middle of the meeting, and I was like, this is
I love it.
just the best. The
That's
best.
why
Like,
we do it.
where else do you get magical hugs from magical Winnie the Poohs in person?
It's a rarity. I
It
would say
is.
a good second runner up would be working with elementary school kids because you get hugs all day long, and preschool. It's a lot though after everyone keeps touching you all day and want to hang on you, and you're just like, you know what? You go there and play, or I have an imaginary friend over there who wants to talk to you. He's
I have
there.
great stories right over there. No, I fully get that. Mommy life, there's been so many times where I'm like, okay, I've had a finger up my nose, that finger followed right into my mouth with a fist, and then crawling all over my face, followed by her pooping her pants. And I'm like, okay,
And
deep breath, carry on.
yeah, and the thing that gets me is that you always have a smile on your face.
Yeah, it's a mindset, to be completely honest. Not saying everything is like sunshine and rainbows all the time, but focusing on the good aspects in the moment and the laughter. The laughter is literally the best. And when we get into story, you'll hear a lot about how just straight up laughter and heavy doses of sarcasm have truly helped create that for me, trying to find the happiness in every day. It has helped a
Yeah.
lot. It's
So is
amazing
that
what you can do with
something?
that.
Yeah, is that something that you guys did in your family growing up? Was just use the sarcasm to get through tough times?
100%.
Okay.
100%. Yeah, my family, if you cannot speak with sarcasm dripping out of your mouth, then you will not survive. Very lovey, very everybody's involved. Everybody knows everything about everyone. Heavy doses of sarcasm and quick witty comments, and throw in some great movie quotes. But yeah, if you don't know movie quotes, you're also not going to survive.
Yeah. Okay, so that also brings us to, I always talk about relationships on the podcast because I don't have one. So I talk about it and I look at other people's relationships. When you're looking for your person, did you keep that in the back of your mind? Like, hey, I got to find a guy who's going to be able to hang with my family, has a good sense of humor, be flexible. What were you
Yeah.
looking for when you were looking for your partner?
Well, my partner is a saint of a human dealing with me. Oh my God.
And
But
he's very handsome while he does it too.
not mad at it whatsoever. When I was thinking of my ideal partner, honestly, as a kid, if I were to have described, like, okay, who do I want to marry? I want to marry somebody smart and funny, and witty and sarcastic and tall, dark, and handsome with light eyes. I literally checked off all those boxes somehow and found him through Tinder 11 years ago.
My
Yeah, 11.
God.
Yeah, oh my God. 11 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, right when like the app came out. But I definitely had this idea of who I wanted to be with, who I wanted the father of like my children to be, the idea of like marrying my best friend. That all was there. I honestly, like, in meeting my husband, I was like, no, there has to be something wrong. And I was like,
Yeah,
there
it's too
was.
good to be true.
That's so funny that you say that. We used to write "Too Good to Be True" on all of our like cards to each other. We'd write each other notes and like it's kind of funny that
Cute. That's so cute.
and we'd always like "Too Good to Be True," like love Dean, love Ashlynn. Yeah, and it surprisingly has just. I mean, no, he's my best friend. It's nuts, and he's also
See,
very very pretty.
I know, very handsome. And I have to say this, that you and Dane are the most photogenic couple. Every picture that you guys take together, you guys are perfect. Even we're like, oh, my hair is like this. You look perfect every time. And then you have the nerve to have a child who's a combination of perfection. And then you made an even more perfect child. So now the whole family, even Molly, she's a cute.
Even the pity.
Yeah, when you guys take the family photo, like everybody looks great. I don't even know how. Don't even know how it's possible.
My daughter got a heavy dose of whatever we're working with, and her, oh my God, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. She has these big, beautiful blue eyes, these huge lashes, and she's just this silly, happy babe. And I'm like, my God, I just need to shield her from everyone. I'm like, no, 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 my little baby.
Get
No,
your little
it's
stick out now. Just be swatting those boys away.
100%. Oh, girl, something more aggressive than a stick.
Okay. I was trying to be rated PG, but okay. Okay.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
I know we are in for it, that's for sure. Meeting Dane on Tinder was nothing that we both never expected to meet someone serious on Tinder, even in the beginning of the app. Honestly, we were both fresh out of relationships and we both had some drama in those relationships. And then I hunted him down, to be completely honest with you. Like, I don't know if
You're a go-getter, so I'm not surprised.
I definitely go after what I want, but like I was freshly single and like, it was like match. I was 21. So it was just, a barrage of like, yes. And I was like, but he was the one, like we matched and then didn't message me. And I was like, hmm. Huh. And, I waited a couple days and then I'm like, all right, I'm over this. So I messaged him and I was like, hi, I'm Ashlynn. How are you? And he's like, if you were a taser gun, you'd be set to stunning. And I was like, okay, either this guy's a douche or he's funny.
Okay. Nice line.
Right. I went with funny and we started talking and we kept on messaging over the app. And I was like, okay, usually guys, after a couple days, guys will like ask for like your actual personal phone number so you can get out of the app and like actually connect.
Right.
Nah, none of that. And so I was like, so, well, can I have your number? And he went on with the conversation and didn't acknowledge me asking that question. And I was like, huh, all right, I got a little feisty. And I was like, so you're going to give me your number or not? And he was like, oh, feisty. I like it. Okay, here's my number. And
That's
yeah.
funny. That's funny because my best friend met her husband on OkCupid, and he kept talking to her and talking to her, and she was like, "Yo, bro, are you gonna ever ask me out? What's happening here?"
Oh my God. These men.
Well, it's like they're being gentlemen. They're trying to get to know you, but there comes a point where it's like, let's get this show on the road.
Right?
Let's
Like
go.
talking for days. Come on. If this was in person, no. Come on. Gotta get my number. Let's keep this rolling. And once we met in person, it was like, all right, we're good. We're done.
Yeah.
And it was just
Yeah.
history after that. And now we are almost 11 years down the road with a
That's crazy.
baby.
Okay, we have this theory of when you find a one, within 6 months. Do you feel like that's true?
Yes. I do feel like that's true. Just like that ease and that unconditional love. It was something that I'd never experienced before from a romantic partner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was like, this is it. This is it.
Yeah.
And we started saying, I love you and all that kind of stuff. And it just felt right and it felt easy.
Mm-hmm. The same things. All of my friends, I always ask them about when they're married. This first started with all my older friends that I used to work with who are
Yeah.
of an older generation. And they always say, if they don't make a commitment within 6 months, drop them. And I just thought this is a different day and age, dating's
Different
differently.
time.
But then my friends started getting married off, and it was always that 6 month rule. And they're like, yeah, it's 6 months, and if they're not on the program, then it's time to move on because they should know, right?
Yeah, you should
You
definitely know
should,
by then.
yeah, you
If
should
not,
know.
you're just playing games. And like that, like I must say, like Dame was like the first guy I actually did that. There were no games, no
Mm-hmm.
pretenses, no games, no, oh my God, does he like me? I knew he liked me. I knew that there was no bull, that it was just realness. And I was like, oh, this is nice.
I
Okay.
love it. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, it was so nice. It is nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And then another thing you said was like how easy it was. And that's another thing my best friend says about her husband. She said it was just really smooth. There was like no drama. It was just stable and calm. And yeah, just really simple and easy.
Yes, exactly. The ease when you can just be yourself. You're with somebody that you feel like you've known your entire life and you just 100% be yourself, laugh, do stupid things, wear no makeup, not worry about how your hair is, not worry, oh my God, if I do this, is he going to leave? Nah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He thinks it's funny and he's going to stay because he's going to be like, all right, tomorrow's going to be even more entertaining. You
Right.
know?
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely meeting that person it feels so different than being with anybody else. It's wild. It's absolutely wild.
Nice.
And it's worth the wait. 100%.
Okay. So I might be 90 years old. And then some little whippersnapper is going to come strolling by with their little cane.
How you doing?
And I'm going to be like, that's it. He's the one.
He's in. He's in.
And we're
It'll be
done.
before then. Yes, we make well done.
And then I'll die the next day.
Oh my God, Samara.
So tragic,
My,
right? But I'm in my 90s.
oh,
So at least I had a full life, right?
no, just watch. You're gonna meet him tomorrow. Just watch. Just watch. It's gonna happen.
Okay. Yeah, you
Yes.
watch. You
Yes.
watch.
Oh, I want to hear
Okay.
all the details. I want to come into the office and be like,
Yeah. Yeah. I probably just
you'd be all
from
private.
experience, I'm just not going to say anything because every time I say something, it doesn't work out. And then you have everybody else like, hey, what happened to so and so? And you're like, oh, that was 2 guys ago,
Yeah.
Kind of tricky. Now, I'm
Yeah.
like, the thing when I know that it's really serious is that they'll come to one of our work parties.
That'll be a test for
That's
sure.
that's gonna be we are literally about to walk in the aisle because that is commitment.
That is commitment. No, honestly. And with the crazies that we work with, everybody's such a character,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
I just think it's such a commitment to bring somebody to a work party
Yeah.
or bring them. Now I've learned my lesson about bringing people around my family too quickly because then they get attached. And it's, yeah, to me, I always trip out when people bring the person they're dating or they just are dating to a work party. But that's just
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. No, it's a big thing. Having your significant other meet your boss is huge. Like all these different scenarios could happen. What if I trip and fall in the pool? What if my significant other accidentally gets too drunk and says
Mhm.
something outlandish to my boss? There's a million different scenarios that you could come up with, but it's such a test. Or like, what if all my work friends hate him? Or like, what if they all feel something that I'm not sensing because I'm so in
Mm,
love? All
yeah.
those different, yeah, all those things. Once it's right, it's right. So once you bring somebody to a work party, that's when I'm going to know that, okay, this is
Yeah.
serious. And I'll
Yeah.
try not to like be like,
Even though even though I did think I said, I probably won't tell anyone and I'll be like, "Oh, what did you do this weekend?" I'm like, "Oh, I got married." I might be one of those.
oh my God,
I might be one of those.
I can see that. Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah. I'd be like, "Oh yeah, you went away on your 3-week vacation. Where did you go?" Well, got married. Went on a little
Married, went on my
honeymoon.
honeymoon. No big deal.
Yeah.
Then
Well,
you
back
show
to
me this
work.
like gorgeous like picture of like you and like, the south of France.
Oh my gosh.
Hey.
We're gonna jump in because I like to do the relationship things because I think I'm doing a study on how you find a perfect person, but we'll move on. You guys got married and you guys started working, all that stuff, and decided to have a family a couple of years after getting married.
Mm-hmm.
And so you were able to get pregnant with this little one, and
Yes.
you were super healthy,
Yes.
super fit. I
Yeah.
mean, you were working out like the day before you went into the hospital. You were doing
Yeah.
squats, I think, that day,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
insane. But even
Yeah.
though, like, you were only 8 months pregnant, so we thought you had at least a couple more weeks to go, right?
If you're going for the 10-month, 40 weeks, I was 32 weeks pregnant.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had 8-ish, yeah, 8 weeks left to cook her. It was wild. And just like to preface, so Tyla is my second pregnancy. After losing my first, going into this pregnancy, I wanted to like, I already took care of my body, but I was like overly so. I was very aware of even what type of deodorant I was wearing and the chemicals that were involved with that. I thought about the different like I was like, is this toothpaste okay? And doing research on toothpaste, I shit you not. Like it was, well, I was pretty anxious in the beginning of the pregnancy, and but then slowly but surely I got more comfortable and everything. And I was working out still probably 4 or 5 days a week, eating healthy, but I was deadlifting, thrusting, squatting still until close to the 30-week mark. Then it started getting a little uncomfortable.
Right, right.
Yeah, I'm a little short. There's not a lot of space for her to go out
Yeah,
horizontally. I was like, oh.
exactly.
But yeah, it was a really healthy pregnancy. And then I don't know if I told you about my cousin was 5 weeks ahead of me during
Right.
her
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy, and she's an L&D nurse at a big hospital in Orange County. And her and I were tossing stories back and forth about symptoms and all that stuff. And then her and I were texting one day, and she said that her water broke. She had like some pink fluid, and I was like, no, it can't be that. No, you're fine. Go into the doctor, see what's up. And then I found out that she had her son prematurely. He was 10 weeks early. And she stopped texting me, and then my family told me later, and they're like, we were a little worried to tell you because of like you're, close to that area.
Mm, right.
At that point, I was 24 weeks pregnant, something around there. So just hit viability, where if I were to have had Tyla at that, she would have survived, hopefully.
Right. Right.
So she went through all that, and her son was in the NICU for 7 weeks. So
Wow.
while her son was, yeah, so, texting her and everything like that. And then one night after work, running around doing our normal work stuff, literally running stairs at the campus, just being my crazy busy self. I get home, I'm relaxing on the couch. I talk to my brother on the phone, and then I'm talking to Dane, and then I literally felt like I peed my pants. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, I was like, no, no, no. I was like, maybe I just peed. Maybe I just peed. It's like my head. I'm like, I hope I just peed my pants, and this is just
Right.
funny like Pete,
Oh my God.
and then realizing going to the toilet, like realizing that it was not pee and it was my water breaking. I just kept on saying shit, 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 and I was like,
Oh
no,
my God.
no, no, no. And we're in this like apartment, and my husband's like like, Ash, are you okay? And I'm like, no, no, no. And I freaked out so much because like my cousin was just going through this. Her son at that point was still in the NICU.
Right.
And I come out of the bathroom and I'm like, Dane, like my water broke. He's like, no, it's too early. And I was like, no, my water broke. We are going to the hospital now. And I just felt this rush of anxiety and fear. And it was one of the scariest moments in my life. And
Right.
it was so much. And I'm like, the baby bag's not packed. We have Molly. What do we do? We have to call everybody. We have to do that. And Dane just took me and put his hands on my shoulders. And he was like, just take a deep breath. And we hugged and we cried for a second. And then we're like, okay, let's say a prayer. That'll ground us a little bit. If we pray, it'll be okay. We're at the point where we're beyond viability. Packing the baby bag, started making our calls and left. And at that point, we were living 10 minutes away from the hospital. So it was a pretty quick ride. And we had called literally everybody on the way. And we get there and we're about to get out of the car and like look at each other. We're like, all right, we're going to meet our daughter early. There's nothing we can do about that. They can probably try to keep me pregnant as long as possible, but we're going to meet her early. This is going to be a big thing. This is not going to be easy. We're like, okay, let's try to find the happiness and the humor in as many moments as we can and just try to just do this how we normally do things. Like, cause Dane and I notoriously, a lot of things have happened to us, but it always has made us stronger. And we've always found the humor and the light in situations. And we're like, okay, it always ends up fine.
Right.
So we go in, we tell like the nurses everything that's going on. And they're like, okay, no worries. I get checked and yep, my water did break. Lost a lot of water. So like my stomach was like a lot smaller. And then
That's so scary.
it was so scary. And then, it took like probably like an hour for like the contractions to start. But, once they came on so hard. And the nurses were like, you seem like you're in like a lot of pain. And I was like, yeah, no, I am. And they're like, it's because you have no water bracing those contractions. You're contracting around her bones. And I was like, okay, that makes sense.
How do we make this stop?
Right, exactly. So they were like, okay, with your situation, we need to give you steroids and magnesium so that we can mature her brain, her lungs so that she's ready. And you have to give them 12 hours apart. It's not a fun shot, but they're like, you need at least both doses so that she can hope to live a normal life, basically. And I'm like, okay. So they gave me magnesium and they gave me the steroid and they were like, all right. So I was contracting all night. It was wild. Magnesium did not help, but at least we got that first shot in. Like my mom came and she was like helping me like dance the contractions away. Like Dane and I were making friends with the nurses and cracking jokes. And every time I laughed, I lost more water.
Gosh. Was it just like trickling?
Exactly. It felt like
Ugh.
like
Gross.
you have no control over it. It's wild. It's such a trip.
Crazy.
Oh yeah, but we made friends with all the nurses. We actually, even though it was like the scariest moments in our lives where we're like, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know because there was still a chance that she wouldn't survive. There was a huge chance that, she wouldn't survive. They were hopeful, but there's still a chance. Even with that looming, we were like just trying to find the joy in the situation and trying to find the experience that most people do when they're having their kid, the happiness of just knowing that you're going to meet the culmination of like your love with your partner. Next day, I'm like contracting all day and I get the second dose and they're like, all right, you're good. At that point, it's been, oh God, I was in labor total for 36 hours, but the final like 10 hours I had an epidural.
Okay.
I tapped out. I'm tough, but I tapped so hard. I went into pregnancy with like, they're like, oh, what do you want your birth plan to be? And I'm like, I want my baby to be healthy, me to be healthy, and drugs. Thank you.
Right, exactly.
I was like, I want us to survive and drugs. But I knew the second they had me on the epidural, I only had 24 hours.
Right.
And yeah, so I was trying to push that out as long as possible and just take it. But at a point, you have no energy left. And like the contractions are coming every 3 minutes and lasting a minute long. And it's just gnarly 10 out of 10 pain. And you're just like, okay. So the night before she came, I had that epidural and like it was like, early, like probably around midnight. And the NICU nurse comes in and gives us the rundown. So your baby's definitely going to be going into the NICU. I'm one of the lead nurses, telling us like that she's probably going to be on a vent. She's probably going to have, she's going to have a lot of machines, a lot of cords coming out of her, and that, they're a level 2 Rades NICU, which we had no idea that that was a satellite Rades, which is great. So they were especially trained for preemies and a lot of things. So we were like, okay, we're a lot more comfortable. And they were telling us that there was one more bed left in the NICU.
Wow.
It was an 8-bed NICU, and they're like, there's one bed left, and there's a couple other moms that they could end up needing that bed for their baby. We got to keep that in mind. And we're like, okay. So the next morning, we're in good spirits, and then our doctor comes in and he's like, hey, that one bed's left. You only have 4 hours left on the epidural. If you wait, one, because you've lost so much water, your white blood cell count is increasing and you're probably developing an infection that could get to your daughter as well. So there's that. 2, you only have a couple hours left on this epidural. 3, there's one bed left. If in those hours somebody else has a child that needs a bed, they're getting that bed. So your daughter would be driven to Rady's Main in San Diego, and you would be there healing from your C-section. Because, oh yeah, I
That's
forgot.
just like the worst.
She's breech. She is breech, and she is too tiny to flip. And they're like, nope, she's staying there, so you have to have a C-section. There's no way you can push her out. So I was like,
So they're just like throwing all this information at you.
Oh yeah.
And you're in labor, and you're on your epidural, and they're basically giving you a no options. Really, they're basically just saying, okay, this is your back is against the wall, so you have to tell us that you want us to have this baby now, and we can go in and take the baby out.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
So we had to make that decision, and that was so scary because as a parent, you hope you make the right decision for your kid. And this is like the first real decision. She's going to be out prematurely. Am I taking her out too soon? Could those additional 12 hours be what would have saved her? All those things come through your mind, and you're like, all right. So Dan and I talked for a second, and we're like, all right, I guess we're meeting our daughter. Okay. Brady's here. Will be able to take care of her in her situation. We don't know what it's going to be. We don't know how bad it's going to be, but they said they can handle her. If she's out of their league, she can go down to Rady's Main and we can go back down and forth. That's fine. That obviously wouldn't be an ideal situation if I'm healing at Scripps. I'm like, all right, we'll do it. She'll be here. It'll be okay. So they're like, okay, you're going to have the baby this morning, blah, blah, blah. And then like an hour later, they're like, okay, you ready? And we're like, wait, what? They're like, okay, surgery in 30 minutes. And we're like, oh my God.
Okay, meanwhile, just so you know from our side as the coworkers, so I don't remember who told me, I feel like it was Bill, maybe, who said, did you hear what's going on with Ashlynn? And I was like, no. I was like, what happened? And they're like, she went into labor early. And I was like, what? So of course then I start panicking. And then we pass it down through our team and our department. And then Jackie was giving us little updates because your baby shower was that weekend, right? It was that Sunday.
Yeah. She crashed my baby shower because I was supposed to have 2 showers that week. My Terry shower and then my other shower, my family shower, was supposed to be Saturday.
Right.
Yeah.
So she was giving us like little updates, and when she was born, she was like, baby's here, everyone's doing okay. And, she gave us like a little like, everything's okay, but, they're going to be here for a while, kind of little tidbit. Just enough for us to know that you're okay, but still keeping your privacy and all that sort of thing. But anyways, back to the baby coming out.
Well, sections are gnarly. It's like a whole orchestrated thing. The dad gets all gowned up. You're on this table. They take you in there. Dane had to stay out of the room. He's all gowned up while they're prepping me, wrapping my arms down. I'm just talking to the anesthesiologist I was like, here, take my phone. Make sure you get pictures. And she's like, do you have a soundtrack you want to play? And I was like,
A
I just want
soundtrack?
Oh, yeah.
They let you play music?
Yeah, they did.
Okay, what did you pick?
I picked Open My Eyes by K-Bong.
Okay.
So that's the song I walked down to the aisle to, and it's very like
cute.
tropical and very like just like soothing.
Okay.
I wanted that, and it's like a very special song for like Dane and I. So I wanted that, but what was a trip was like this when I had the epidural. So they're just putting in more drugs through the epidural so that I couldn't feel, or I shouldn't have been able to feel my chest down, right? So they're talking to me. They're like, okay, we're starting to make the incision. You shouldn't be able to feel this. And I was like, I feel that.
Oh my God, no.
No, seriously.
That's a nightmare.
And they're like, you feel that? Like, is it like a pressure or is it sharp? I was like, no, it's a sharp, stabby pain.
My God.
And they're like, okay. And then they gave me
morphine. Morphine?
Yeah. Morphine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They gave me the good stuff.
They gave me the good shit.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, morphine. So they gave me morphine through my epidural. Highly recommend.
My God, that's solid. So scary. Because it's like, what if you were incapacitated and you couldn't talk?
Oh, straight up. I was like trying to stay awake, and I was like cold and shivering because I guess a lot of people when they go into labor they start shaking. So I was like shaking uncontrollably at that point. Yeah. It's just like a nerve-wracking situation. Plus, you're by yourself. So I don't have my husband who's like pro at calming me down. I don't have him there. It's just all these freaking strangers that are like, "You're doing great, Mama." I'm like, "Shove it." I'm like, "I love you."
No, I'm not doing great. I'm shaking. And I have no control.
I was still like trying to crack jokes and trying to like have a lot of fun with it, but the situation, the reality of it was really setting in. And then Dane comes in, he's all gowned up with the little hat on and the mask, and I'm like, how does he still look cute looking like this right now? They start talking us through it. He's holding my hand, and she comes out, and she's so tiny. And it was the longest minute of my life before I heard the faintest, tiniest cry. Oh, and it was so little. And then they rush her over, and they had the respiratory therapist, and there was like 20 people in the room. The respiratory therapist was on deck. He had her right away. Oh my God, what was his name? I want to say it was like Fabian or something along those lines. And I was like, oh, I'm like thinking Fabian. And he's on her. She has a CPAP. She has that, and they take her away, and I'm like, Dane, go with the baby. Dane, go with the baby. Leave me, I'm fine. And I'm like, okay, she's out. She cried. She's with everybody. Dane's with her. It'll be okay. And I was just like counting down the minutes. I'm like, get me out of here. Get me out of here. And I'm still trying to be like nice. Like everybody was like super sweet, and I was still like trying to find a lot of, happiness. I'm like, okay, like at least I'm drugged up. So hopefully the time will go by faster until I get to meet my kid. Cause it's like torture at that point. And so Dane goes with the baby down to the NICU, and he says he gets down there and everybody's like talking to him like, okay, Mr. Landreth, this is this. And there's like 5 NICU nurses around her. And then all of a sudden he hears an announcement saying, Mom had a gross rupture. Mom had a gross rupture.
That's right. Yeah, you mentioned that. Okay.
Oh, yeah. But then everybody gowns up, gloves on, masks on. Everybody's like frantically over Tyla. So Dane's thinking that I'm bleeding out. Mind you, gross rupture is not that. Gross rupture is my water breaking and how much water I lost and the chance of infection for me and my daughter. So that's what they were addressing. But he thought I was bleeding out. So he runs out of the NICU. He goes to where the surgery doors were, and he's like banging on the door. He's like, let me in. And I know, concerned, sweet baby Dane. And then he goes to the nurse's station. He's like, let me in. My wife's bleeding out in there. And it's like, mind you, like Dane's like the chillest, sweetest, like calmest, go with the flow type of dude. And he's just like, let me in. So she's like, okay, sir, okay, let's go. She like runs over there with them. And as soon as they get to the doors open, and I come out all drugged up, and I'm like, hey, babe, how's the baby?
How's it going?
Just like drugged out of my mind.
Oh my God, that is so scary.
Oh my God. And he's like, you're fine? I was like, I'm fine. Where's the baby? Why aren't you with the baby? And he's like, oh my God. And he's like, she's fine, she's fine, she's fine. He's like, I'll go back with her. I'm like, okay, cool. So he goes back and they have her all hooked up, and she's just like this teeny tiny little babe. She was not even 4 pounds. She was 3 pounds, 15 ounces, so just shy of 4 pounds at that point. She couldn't breathe on her own. She was tiny, just so tiny. But besides that, she was healthy. So we are very, very lucky. So I didn't get to see her until the epidural came out. So probably around like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. So it was about 12 hours until I could
Wow.
see my baby, because they couldn't bring my baby to me and I couldn't get out of bed with the epidural. I couldn't
That's
sit.
crazy
So
that you
that
didn't get
sucked.
to
I
see
was
her.
dying. I was dying. And I finally got to see her, and just the emotion that rushes over you. And it's like, when you think about having a baby, you don't picture, you just think you have your baby, they get put on your chest, everything's healthy, you feed them, you change your first poopy diaper, and it's all
It's
good.
all good. Everybody
That's just
goes
like something that,
home.
exactly, that's something that's just like understood.
Right.
So seeing your baby in the NICU, in the little, like, it looks like a freaking spaceship, in this
Hmm.
glass bassinet that's covered where you have to reach in and touch your baby through these holes, is insane. It's such a trip. And then seeing just like someone that you just met, but you love beyond explanation,
Mm,
but they're so helpless and so tiny. I know normal infants look like normal newborns look tiny, but
right.
she was
But she was baby, tiny, tiny, tiny.
the
Yeah.
preemie diapers were too big for her.
My
She was
God.
swimming in the preemie
I mean,
diapers.
you're like a petite person, so
I
I
am.
wasn't expecting you to have like a 10-pound baby. That would have
Honestly,
been
I was
weird.
hoping Dane was a 10-pound baby, so I was
Yeah.
afraid.
Yeah. But I just figured, I was like, I don't think so. I think she's going to
Yeah.
be tiny like you.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you did have that chance of having a 10-pound baby like your husband and the rest of his
Yeah.
siblings, right?
Oh yeah, they're all huge. They're all massive babies. So like possibility of like a C-section, my doctor and I were throwing around anyways, because she's like, you're on your frame, you're not going to be able to birth a 10-pound baby, so I want you to
No
keep that
way.
option open. And I'm like,
Yeah.
heard and understood. Thank you for looking out for me and my part.
Oof, golly.
But seeing her, and I got to hold her that first night, and she was so teeny, and they were feeding her through an NG tube, and not even an ounce that she could get down, not even 30 mLs, like literally like 10 mLs is all that they could get down her, and barely even that. It was such a trip seeing just all these chords and everything and all the sounds, and I will never forget the sounds of the NICU and those amazing angels that work there. And I feel like they were all talking to me and they're all being super sweet. And all I heard was wah, 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 wah,
Right.
wah, wah.
Yeah.
Everything is just sound.
I
It's
mean,
just sound.
like, it makes sense because that was a traumatic event. Let's just be real. It was
100%.
super traumatic.
Yeah.
Your body has just gone through major surgery
Yep.
and labor at the same
Yep.
time. You're coming off the drugs. Okay, like, let's
Those
be real.
amazing, amazing drugs.
Yes, just one of the strongest drugs there is out there. And then your little baby is, so tiny and hooked up, and so that's a lot to take
Yeah.
in as a mom. And then of course you're healing from your C-section, so you have like all these things coming at you. I honestly, I don't know if I would have handled it as well as you did. Honestly, when you first saw her the first time, did you have to give yourself a pep talk and prepare yourself and be like, okay, I know she's going to be hooked up on all these cores. This is to help her. She's totally fine. You know,
Yeah, definitely those thoughts. And I was scared for her and I didn't know what future was in store for us. I'm like, it's going to be okay. But I just want to see her. I just want to see my baby. I want to hold my baby. That drive to hold your child is so primal. I don't care if I had to jump through like burning hoops with jagged, glass. I need to see my child now.
hmm
And
hmm
having it be like 12 hours in between, I was like, saying chomping at the bit
did you
isn't doing it
sleep?
justice.
Did you
No,
sleep in that 12 hours?
no, I don't think
Oh,
so.
wow.
I don't know. There was a lot of drugs. I don't think I
Okay.
slept. I
Yeah.
don't think
Cause I'm
so.
just like trying to figure out, cause like I did a couple episodes ago, I was telling my mom's side of her birth story with me because I stopped breathing.
Oh God.
And so I had that huge team of people who rushed in to save me, and she didn't see me for hours. And of course, this is the 80s. So
Yeah.
I thought things had improved with the communication to the parents. So when you're going 12 hours without being able to see your kid, but like you had, different circumstances. My mom, she knew nothing for hours, which is crazy that there's not better communication to just kind of keep you up to date. Or I don't know, maybe you were just so drugged out that maybe, I don't know. Who knows?
I was definitely so drugged up. It was ridiculous, but it was definitely like 12 hours. Dane was going back and forth between me and Tyla and doing the amazing daddy Dane thing. But finally seeing her, there was nothing more amazing than holding her for the first time and being so scared. And I remember changing her first little diaper. They're like, Mom, do you want to change the diaper? And in my head, I'm like, you just called me Mom. And I'm like, yes, I want to change your diaper. And anytime the nurses refer to you, you're just Mom. You're Mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, Mom, Dad, do this, Mom, Dad, blah, blah. And they're talking to me while I'm doing this little itty bitty diaper. And in my head, I'm stop talking to me. I'm going to do this wrong. And it's like, I've changed hundreds of diapers in the past, but I'm like,
Right.
not on anyone so teeny tiny, you know?
She didn't even fit in the diapers.
No.
Like, what did they put her in? Did they just cut a half of one and strap it to her? Like, what did they do?
No, they had you fold it down, but she just was swimming in it. Because there's two sizes below preemie diapers, and she was too big for those. There's the nano and the micro. I want to say like it's like nano preemie and micro preemie, and they are so tiny. Like legit, there's one that's this big, like 2 or 3 inches big.
Oh my God.
So we just folded down the preemie diaper and made it fit that way.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was wild. And then, so we were going back and forth every couple hours, and I was pumping, and because she was also too small to feed off of me, and that suck, swallow, breathe, that's usually innate once babies are full term. She couldn't do that yet, so she couldn't even try to breastfeed. So I was pumping like crazy every 3 hours, and my goodness, pumping is not for the weak. My God.
Yeah.
We ended up in the hospital because I had her on day 3 in the hospital, and then they let us stay an additional 3 days after she was born. So I was there a week.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Going back and forth with the NICU, which was really sweet. They definitely took great care of us. And we went to my parents' house in Escondido, and our apartment was like upstairs. So we, going upstairs after a C-section, hard pass. So we're like, all right, let's go to my parents' house in Escondido. It's a further drive, but we can make it work. My God, that was intense. We only stayed there 2 nights, and then I was like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
But also after we went home, within 24 hours, I had a cold sore from all the stress that my body was going through.
That makes sense.
My God, but you can't go into the NICU with a fresh cold sore.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but you cannot go into the NICU with a fresh cold sore. It has to scab over, and then you have to wear a mask.
My God.
So I couldn't see my daughter for it was like 2.5 days.
That's insane. If you're wearing a mask, you're not going to kiss her, right? So
no, but it's the chance of infection is so high, and it's if a baby.
You could have worn an N95. You could have done something extreme.
I could have done something extreme, but the rules are so serious because even there's stories of babies getting cold sores when they're teeny tiny and it rocking their immune system and then literally dying. I was like, oh, this is all happening right now. I don't understand what's going on. Oh, I was crying so much. And then finally we're going back in the NICU. Everything's good. But what nobody prepares you for is leaving the hospital without your kid.
Yeah. Let's talk about that because that's heavy.
Oh yeah, the drive, just getting in the car. That's even getting out to the car. It was painful after a C-section. It's major surgery, but getting in the car, closing the door, and then just feeling this weight come over you. Dan and I were just sitting there. The car didn't even start, and we were both we just looked at each other and we're like, this is the situation. We got to do what we can, and it's like it's okay if we cry. It's okay if we have all these feelings where, everything, we're allowed to feel all these things, but we just cried. We just
Yeah.
cried. And then we're like, okay, we're going to head to my parents' house and, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. And I was calling the NICU, constantly checking in, like,
Yeah.
hey, it's me. How's she doing? But
Yeah.
yeah,
Do they
that,
have cameras in the NICU?
no, they don't. I
Oh,
know.
that's
I
too
wish like
bad.
you could log into like a camera pointed directly at your bassinet.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
they need to do that because I was
That's so
dying.
rough because it's like
And
you have no connection whatsoever with your
yeah,
baby.
yeah.
That's rough.
All you can do is call. And it's you're not allowed to sleep there either. So you're only allowed to
Mhm.
come like and visit. And it's yeah. It's it was
That's
probably one of
a
the most
lot.
brutal feelings that I've ever felt in my life. And
And
there's
it's
no
almost like
helpless.
you feel like almost like a part of yourself was missing because like
100%.
she was so part of you for all those months and then now she's born but you can't be with her, you can't touch her. That's rough. That is
Yeah.
really hard.
No, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly. Yeah, it absolutely brutal. Because it's like you weren't alone. You always had like this little buddy, this little person that you could talk to and that you could keep safe. And it's like one thing, a lot of people say when you have a child, it's your heart living outside of your body, but it's in the situation that we went through. It was such a vulnerable position, and you're just so worried about her, about anything that could go wrong. And it's like, I'm already a very type A person. I'm already very much a control freak, and not having even a chance to, you know, control what is around my daughter, the situation at all, having no control over anything was wild. And it's like you do like, I mean, at least I did going into pregnancy and everything, release control because it's you don't have control over what happens at the end of the day.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You just hope you make the right decisions.
Right. Were you able to
But
talk with your cousin who like had her baby premature? Were you able to bounce things off of her since she was a couple of weeks ahead of you?
before I went into labor, it was a little hard getting a hold of her. She was really going through it. And then once she found out, she was very, very open and very receptive. And she was definitely scared for me in
Mm.
the situation because her son went through the ringer. He went through a lot and he's doing great now, but yeah, he went through a lot. So I think she was just very scared for me, and knowing the trauma that your cousin is going through while you're also going through your trauma, it's hard because it's like reopening a wound that's still bleeding.
Yeah, and that sense of helplessness too. It's like double
Yeah.
sense of helplessness because
Yeah. That.
you want to be there, number one, to be with your family, to help them get through a hard time, but you have your own kid that's having significant challenges and you're still healing. It's just, that's a lot. It's a lot to deal with.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And the nurses and the doctors were great, but I don't even think I told you before, like Tilla actually got sick. She had got an infection while she was in the NICU. Like at the end of week 2.
Okay, I would have been pissed personally
I was
because
so pissed.
they made you stay out of there for the
Yep.
whole purpose that they were afraid you're going to bring in your cold sore and spread it to all the babies. And yet you were not there, and somehow your baby was still exposed to something.
Yep. Dan and I
Did
think
you
it
go
was
off? Did you guys go off on them about that?
I wanted to. Honestly, like knowing me, I'm shocked I didn't, to be completely honest. But no, we were so exhausted in every single way. We were just concerned about advocating for our daughter. So all of a sudden, like we go in, and she's not acting like herself. She's a very feisty, silly baby. Even like when she was like that old, she was definitely feisty. She let you know what's up. And she wasn't acting like herself. And I'm like, mm,
Yeah, something's off.
something was off. And she wasn't taking, at that point, she was taking little itty bitty bottles, trying to get down, at that point, I think she was up to mLs. So not even a full ounce yet for feeds. And then we'd push the NG, but she wasn't acting right. She was very lethargic, very sleepy. And we're talking to the nurse, and the nurse was a traveling nurse that was like new, and she wasn't our favorite, to be completely honest. And she's like, no, this is normal. And we're like, no, it's not. And she's like, no, you're fine. And we're like, no, we're not. So we knew one of our favorite nurses, Karen, was the top dog that day. So we're like, Karen. And she comes in, she's like, what, guys, what? And we're like, look at Tyla. Tell us what's going on. And she's like, she's not being herself. Something's off. Something's
There
wrong.
it is.
And I'm like, yep. And she's like, good job trusting your gut, guys. I'm going to look into this right now.
Yeah.
And we're like, get this nurse away from us. She didn't listen to us and everything like that. And then
bad nurse.
Tyla starts tanking, and her breathing starts getting erratic. The alarms keep on going off on her machine. Her feeds diminish. She's super lethargic. She's just like slowly just like bottoming out, it feels like.
Yeah.
We're like, what the hell is going on? So they run all these tests. So many tests. We keep on checking in. And then they come back to us and they're like, hey, she has a certain type of strep. And we're like, strep? And in my head, I'm like throat strep. And then I'm like, oh wait, no, there's a type
all
of
sorts of strep.
Yeah, and there's this type of strep, strep B, that they test you for during pregnancy at 34 weeks pregnant. They swab the mom and test you because they have to treat you, because it could lead to literally developmental disabilities and things like that. It could turn into a lot of things.
Right.
And I didn't even get to that point where I wasn't 34 weeks pregnant, so I never got tested for it, but I got tested during the labor process and I was negative. So they're like, she came up positive for strep. They're like, we don't know what type of strep, but most likely in these situations, it's a type B. And I had already done my research. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, if she has strep B and it gets to her spine, this could lead to a lot of developmental disabilities. This could lead to a lot of things, that we, never thought of. And it's like, in the industry that we work in, it's like we see a lot.
Right.
So it's
exactly.
like, I was like, okay, you're going to have a special kid. Everybody, who has a special kid goes through these emotions. Like, it's okay. Take it step by step, do our research, do the best we can, try to make the best decisions that we can. It'll be fine. They start running more tests. The neonatologist is going after it, doing extra calls on the weekend, doing extra research at night, posting things to the portal literally at like 1:00 in the morning, and calling resources like around San Diego County to figure out what is going on with our kid. She truly went after it. And the next day we go in and they're like, hey, we're going to give your daughter a PICC line. They're like, we don't know what type of strep she has, but no matter what strep it is, one or both of these antibiotics that will push through the PICC line will address it. So hopefully it won't get to her spine. So they do the procedure. We're in the room. The PICC line goes in through her foot all the way up to her heart. And they brought in this like old rinky-dink x-ray machine to like make sure it's going through like the right thing. They zapped my daughter like 8 times with that thing. And the tech was this like older gentleman, and he's like, oh, I don't like this machine. Let me try again. I'm like, stop zapping my daughter. I was like, I'm going to lose it. And Dane was about to lose it.
Oh my God. He goes, let me take one more just for good luck.
Right. I'm like, her little ovaries. I'm like, for the love of God.
Well, you might have super grandchildren one day.
Tyla's just like glowing at night in the NICU, like it's all dark. So they do the PICC line. She gets the antibiotics and she starts slowly but surely feeling better. And well, not quickly at all. She picked up a little bit. Her tummy was upset with everything, and obviously, but then the next day they're like, guys, we have good news. And we're like, what? Like, we're like, give us anything. And they're like, it's group D strep, not group B. And I was like, D as in dog? Like, I've never heard of group D strep. Like, what is that?
Yeah, so what is that?
And they're like, it's a lot less severe, no chance of it leading to anything developmental. Like, it can get bad, but at least no long-term effects. And we're like,
so crazy.
Oh my God. We're like, thank God. So they take her off of one of the antibiotics. They push good thing is like one of the antibiotics they were giving her was the perfect antibiotic to give her for group D strep.
Nice.
So they kept her on that. After she she was on that for like a week. After that, yeah, so it was like in the middle of week 2, she got sick. After that, she slowly but surely started gaining weight, and we were working on her feeds. And like every NICU baby, usually the feeding is the part that keeps you in there the longest.
Right.
So her learning how to do that it was a lot, very stressful. I always thought breastfeeding and feeding would be like this easy, magical, wondrous thing. No, it's chapped nipples, clogged ducts, not
Yeah.
good latches, you know, nipple guard
Yep.
or nipple shields to try to
Yep.
help with the latch. And the amount of people that have seen my boobs at this point, like, I'm just like, all right.
That's the one thing that people don't talk about a lot is the whole breastfeeding aspect. I kind of have a little bit more background on it just because my mom's a nurse and
Yeah.
she's straight up about that, but it is really difficult, especially when you first have a baby, on getting that baby latched correctly, but also the side effects that you're going through. So your boobs are having pain. And
They're
if you have
huge.
if you have a C-section, you got stuff going on. If you have a vaginal birth, you got stuff going on. It's
Yeah.
your whole body's freaking out.
Either way, you're wearing a diaper.
Yeah.
Either way, you're wearing a diaper. You and your kid are both wearing diapers, and nobody's sleeping. But after a while, Tyler slowly but surely got the hang of everything and started getting a lot bigger. She came home at 6 pounds, and I will never forget the day that they told us, like, she's coming home. Are you ready to do the car seat test? And oh my God, I'm like, are you
Did
shitting
she
me? Like,
even fit in the car
you
seat?
barely fit. The
Oh
car
my
seat
God.
that we had it starts at 4 pounds. So thank you, Graco. She looked so tiny, Samara. She looked so tiny. It was wild.
My
And
God.
she finally did that. We brought her home, and I will never forget at Scripps Encinitas, when you take your baby home, you hit the baby bell and it plays this lullaby over the loudspeakers. So you can always hear when somebody's taking a baby home. We were waiting 30 days
Wow.
to hit that damn ringer. I need to hit it. And we hit it on our way out. And I filmed Dane doing like the hot dad walk. Did not disappoint. I had to. And I was like, that's my babe. And, we get her all hooked in. Our favorite nurse, like Karen, like walks us out. We get her all hooked up, click her in, and I go to sit in like the front seat. And, we pull out. We immediately like stop at the light, throw it in park. I hop in the back, and, you know, we're driving off. I'm just staring at her. Oh my God, this is so real. This is amazing, and just so happy. And then this feeling just sits in the car, and Dan and I both, he looks back, I look at him, and I'm like, shit. And he's like, shit. We're both like, shit. And we're like,
It's all on you guys now.
we don't
Everything's
have
all on you.
we don't have NICU nurses to give us advice anymore, because like one of the perks of the NICU, there's a couple perks of the NICU. One of like the mega perks of the NICU is you had training. It was NICU boot camp. You had the MVPs of taking care of babies, all the answers that you could ever need right there. Just hands on, like the best people ever to like learn from. And also it desensitizes your kid to a lot of sounds. The child can sleep through anything, because the
Right.
NICU's loud. NICU is
Yeah.
not like all lullabies and snoring babes. It's a lot of beeping,
Yeah.
a
A lot
lot
of
of
machines.
a lot of machines, and a lot of like doctors and people running in and out, and pumps, and it's wild. But yeah, no, Tyler can sleep through anything now. But yeah, then it was all on us, and everybody was texting me, oh, I'm so happy. And we were so happy, but we just wanted to stay in our cocoon. Oh yeah, I didn't want anybody to come over. I think I let my mom and dad come over after like, a week of being home.
Okay. Sometimes for parents, that's kind of hard when you tell
Yeah,
them no.
yeah.
When you're starting your own family, did you have like that situation with your parents where like, oh, we're coming right over, and you were like, wait, no, we can't
Well,
have any germs in the house right now.
right. Well, I definitely, in this season of my family, my brother's having kids, we had Ty. So everybody was like, okay, what vaccinations do we need? Everybody got Tdap, everybody got the flu shot, everybody was covered that way, which was great. So we didn't have to worry about that. We told everybody, no kissing your kid or I will literally knock you out. No holds barred. So I told them from even before everything happened, I was like, no, we're probably going to want some time. Just wait for us. And my family, everybody was very, okay, no worries. They're all chomping at the bit. When can we
Yeah, of
come
course.
and see? And like, honestly, it was more my dad that was like, please, 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 can I just see her in the NICU? And we're like, no, no, no. We kept the NICU to just us.
Yeah.
But my mom was like, we'll be here whenever you're ready. You know, this is your journey. She was a very young mom. I was the
Mm,
last of three, and she had me at 26. My oldest brother was born when she was 18. So she had a lot of problems with others respecting her boundaries because she was so young. So
okay. Got it.
in turn, she wanted to make sure that my boundaries were very well respected. So she did
Nice.
not push it whatsoever, which was really sweet.
Good. Good.
But I turned into this hermit. I let my family come over. Okay, one time you're good. One time you're good. Okay, now leave me alone. Kind of a thing. And then postpartum anxiety was like, how you doing? And I'm like, man, I
Uh,
literally was hardly out of the house for like a month. It was like maybe a walk a day with Dane and the dog. Besides that, I was like, no, I'm good. I just need to be with baby. And I hardly could put her down at all.
yeah.
It was the NICU, the trauma, already being an anxious millennial girly, like a lot of us, that on top of all that, it just, yeah, postpartum anxiety just got a really good hold of me. And, it just, yeah. But slowly but surely coming out of that, talking it out, all the feelings has helped a lot. And my friends dragging my ass out of the house and telling me that it's okay to do things for myself and it's
Yes.
okay to have other people hold my kid.
That's
All,
tough.
oh my
That's tough
God.
though. You guys went through a lot to get her home and
Yeah.
she went through
Yeah.
so much. So it makes
She
sense
really
that you guys
did.
would be hesitant.
Yeah. Dane was very sweet about all of that. He was just very much like, I'll follow your lead. I'll support you, whatever you're comfortable with. And I mean, you know me at work. I'm very type A. I'm very like need to manage all the little bitty pieces. So at home, I was very much the same. I had apps and a whiteboard and all these things to track how much she was eating. She had to do fortified feeds. So my breast milk plus formula added on top of it and made it a thicker kind of solution. God, yeah, just to fatten her up because they're like, she needs to gain more weight. I'm like, got it. And just all those things. It's just so wild. It's so wild. And it's nuts everything that we went through, but finally holding your kid in your arms at home and knowing there's a light at the end of the tunnel after 30 days in the NICU and all the hurdles and all the tears and all the anxiety, all those anxious feelings. It's just you're finally holding your kid and they're okay. There's such a light at the end of the tunnel and it's so worth it. It's all those things. It just, I'm looking at her now. Now she's feral and one and just wild and sweet and sassy and loving. And now she can tell you, hi, baby.
That's cute. How
Yeah.
has this whole experience with your pregnancy, has this changed you as a person, as a mom? How has this changed your whole perspective about life?
Honestly, it has changed me a lot. I let things go a lot more. There's what actually matters in life. There's so many things I don't care about that. That doesn't matter. That's not in the grand scheme of things. There's so many things that I'm like, that's not going to matter to me in 20 years.
That's true.
It really shifted my priorities. And I thought going into motherhood, I've always been very career focused, very success oriented, but motherhood has this way of just slapping you into reality and what's actually important.
Mm,
And it's okay, Ash, you can't take your money with you. You can't take the success with you. On your deathbed, you're not going to say, oh, I wish I could have sent out a couple more emails. I wish I could have
exactly.
done those things. I wish I could have spent more time with the people that I love.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah. And
It's
it's
so true.
that little girl I would do anything for. She has expanded my emotional intelligence. I have always kind of been an emotional moron. And now I have more than two feelings. Cool.
Uh,
And having to figure those out and while I'm teaching my daughter how to handle her emotions and how to process everything. It's just wild. There was just such a shift in what is actually important in life, because life or death situations will do that for you. I could have easily died. My daughter could have
Yep.
easily died.
Yep.
There was multiple situations where things could have gone so awry, and we are just so lucky that we made it through and we found so much happiness and so much light and so much laughter and all those things. At the end of the day, what matters is my daughter and my husband, and I am replaceable in any other aspect of my life, but I'm not replaceable here. You
Very,
know?
very true. How has this whole situation and going through what you went through made your marriage stronger with Dean?
Yeah, it definitely has made us stronger. You don't get a lot closer than having your man pull up your diaper for you.
There you go.
You
See,
know?
that's why you have to pick right, because if you don't pick the right person, you're on your own in those
You're on your
moments.
own. He was all over it. He, helping me go to the bathroom because I literally couldn't even walk. Like with that C-section, my God, those are painful. And I'm not a wimp about pain. That
Right.
hurts. And him walking me to it, oh God, he's gonna see my belly all deflated. I have a fresh incision. Lord knows what anything looks like down there. Diaper, like big pads, big as like from like shoulder to shoulder. They're huge. They're like, what, like 18 inches long?
Yeah, they're big.
Something atrocious, but 100% needed. And it's like him passing me all that kind of stuff, washing like the Perry bottle and washing the bottles, and he went above and beyond and still somehow made me feel beautiful and loved. He's like, "What do you need, babe? What do you need?" He was amazing.
I
I'm
think men
very
need that
lucky.
tattooed on their arm. What do women want? Just ask them what they need and then go do it.
Yeah.
I think that's the best advice you can give a guy.
Right, we're not that complicated. We're not that
Really.
complicated. And honestly, like the rush of hormones, oh my God. I didn't even like mention with them all the stuff they were pumping me through, plus all the hormones, and I was already like running hot. Like I'd wake up in like full sweat when I was like pregnant, like
Mm.
absolutely dripping. I got like a special like waterproof cover for my mattress because I was like, this is disgusting. Yeah, and I was like, but so once they were pumping me with like the magnesium and the steroids to keep her in and like help develop her brain and her lungs and stuff, that stuff also makes you run even hotter. So
I don't like
I
that.
I was running so hot to the point where like I was still like pregnant, like Tyler was still inside, hooked up all the monitors and stuff. I had the AC in that room cranked down to like 50, and I was still
Wow.
sweating bullets. And
Wow,
Dane's
that's
like trying to
crazy.
sleep on this like little chair recliner, just
He's like shivering.
he really was. I could hear his teeth. I could hear his teeth. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And he's like, it's okay. And like the nurses would come in and they're like, it's so cold in here. And I'm like, I'm hot. I'm hot. I'm dying. You know,
That's
it's just
rough.
all the things that Dane has gone through, all the hormones, all the moments, like God, all the things. Me craving steak and potatoes at 2 a.m. You
Hey,
know,
that's a good thing to crave.
hey,
It's protein.
it is. Oh yeah, no, it's, oh yeah. And now Tyler loves. Oh God, she's a Tato girl. She loves her some
That's so
potatoes. My God,
funny. That's
she's
so
so funny.
cute.
She's wild.
I love
But
it.
Dane definitely went above and beyond. And I like my love language is definitely like acts of service and like quality time. So him doing all that, I was like, wow, like you really do love me. Oh shit.
Yes. I mean, when you have a man that is running through the hospital about to knock down the doors because he's afraid that something happened to you, like that is love. That is
Yeah.
love right there.
Yeah, sweet Danny Cakes raising his voice, like,
Raising
booking
hell.
it. Oh my God, he was pounding on the door, like, God, just sweet baby Dane.
Love it. Love it. Okay, so let's switch gears because you had this beautiful time to nest with your little daughter and grow into your parenthood. And then there was a time that you had to decide if you were coming back to work or not. And there was a time where we were like, I don't think she's coming back. We were a little worried because we're like, we kind of need her back. There's no replacement, and that's what I heard a lot of times at work was there's no replacement for Ashlynn. Nobody can replace Ashlynn and how she does things and how she interacts with people. It's
Well,
a
it's also
different
love.
vibe. So there's a lot of people who are like, when is Ashlynn coming back? When is Ashlynn coming back? Yeah, that's why you kept getting texts from people like, hey, how you doing?
They're
And
like, hi.
we're like HR, hey, did Ashlynn, did she give me a hard date yet?
Right? Do you guys have a date? No,
Yeah.
it was a big decision. We had our childcare fall through. We thought we had 5 days a week of childcare for free through a family member, and it fell through 4 days before I went into labor.
Lovely.
Yeah, so we had that to contend with. So we weren't planning, we didn't think we'd have to take on the cost of childcare. And we're like, and then I was really struggling with postpartum anxiety. And the thought of leaving her alone with anyone absolutely terrified me.
Right.
Leaving the room terrified me.
I'm sure.
Even going to get my nails done, like I would try to leave and I'd start crying. And I'm like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And so I ended up taking like a month extra of leave. I took 4 months. I figured, hey, everybody always gets 3 months. I lost 30 days while she was in the NICU. I was like, no, I still get my 3 months.
Exactly.
Yeah. But, our boss had us over at her, or had me over at her house, meet the baby and everything. And she was checking in on me. I went over twice after I had her, and she was just, how are you doing? How can we arrange things to make it work? And she really wanted to be flexible. I was afraid that we weren't going to be able to do a hybrid schedule because, like, usually that doesn't fly, but it's what I needed. I couldn't afford childcare. I ended up figuring it out later on, but so in the beginning, getting that arrangement and trying to figure out what I could handle on top of all the emotional stuff that I was still going through was a lot because I got my nails done once. I think it was like an hour. That was the only thing I did outside of the house without my kid until the weekend before I went back to work, where we went on a date, and we went out to this Mexican restaurant, and we had Tyla with Dane's brother and sister-in-law who have 2 kids. We went to this Mexican restaurant, and Dane was like, okay, should we take our time and have a good time? I was like, no, give me a shot. Give me a shot and a margarita. Cadillac, skinny, thanks. And I took a shot and I cried at the table,
Oh my God.
and I chugged my margarita so quick. We were talking about everything, and you'll probably think I'm absolutely batshit because she's just a postpartum chick having a shot, drinking a margarita, chugging a margarita, crying at the table in this
I bet
cute
you that was
Mexican
a
restaurant.
mom. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's a mom who's like, new mom?
Like, yep, yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. That's one thing. Like, the moms after having a baby, it's like all these moms come out of the woodwork and they're all there for you. They're such a network. It's so wild. And all the crazy stories. So many people had NICU stories, or they're in the NICU for a week, or their baby was 5 weeks premature, or some stories. And I'm like, why the hell did I not know any of this? And they're like, well, we didn't feel like sharing.
I also think it's like not to scare you because they don't want to put that in your
Yeah.
head.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my friends was pregnant. She was 8 or 10 weeks behind me. And so telling her, I was afraid to tell her what happened because I didn't want her to get scared. And when her and I talked about it after, she was like, oh no, you scared the shit out of me. And I'm like, oh, my bad. I didn't want to do that to you. So yeah, no, you're totally right about that. Like, yeah, but there's such like a network. And texting them at 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, hey, I'm feeding the baby. I'm holding her up because has like acid reflux. What I do about that, what I would do about this. And I send the same text off to 5 different moms, get different answers. I'm like, all right, I like this one, I like this one, I like this one. Thank you all. Love you very much.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's wild. And then after everything I went through, my friend ended up having her baby. She went through a little bit of NICU time as well.
Oh,
Different situation, but her baby's fine now. And she had a lot of questions, and I was all right. I wanted to be there for her as much as I could. It was being able to like help her felt so good. Bounce ideas off of her. She's like, "Hey, what do I do about this?" I'm like, "I just went through this 3 weeks ago. This is what you need. This is what I got. This is why we liked it. We tried this and it didn't work, blah, blah, blah." She's like, "Okay, thanks." And she was like, "I don't know what I would do without you."
It reminds me of that whole it takes a village kind of thing.
It does.
And the women of the village all kind of came out of their little huts and they're like, okay, we're here to help now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had this friend in high school that her and I reconnected over pregnancy, and we hadn't talked for, oh God, like 10 years. And then we bonded because we were both pregnant at the same time. And after I had Ty early, she sent me like diapers. She sent me a new like PJ dress where I could open it up and feed easy. And she sent me a couple other things. And she's like, "Hey, just because I love you." And I'm like,
So sweet.
"Thank you." Just the little things. I didn't ask her for anything. And she's like, "Babe, I got you. Let me know what you need." And I've been calling her my mom Yoda, which is kind of funny because my actual mom's nickname is Yoda. But anyways, but she's been so helpful to me. It's crazy. I'm like, "I have no idea what I'm doing." She's like, "It's okay. None of us do. But what's going on?"
I love it. Yeah, there is no book to raising a child.
No.
It's kind of like a learn as you go.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a learn on the job kind of job, and you just hope that you're making the right decisions, and you just try to do your best. Like, that's why like it blows my mind. Like, I would do anything for Tyler. I would do anything for her. And it's like that's why I can never understand, just, certain situations that you hear about on the news. I'm like, how could anybody not just look at a kid and just be like, "I love you so much,
Yeah.
unconditionally. I just will do anything for you, anything you want, anything you want." Oh, yeah. It just blows my mind. I'm like, oh, God. Yeah, that little girl makes my world go round 100%.
I love it. What's the biggest challenge juggling your career and motherhood?
God, time and guilt, honestly, because you have to give every aspect of your life over 100%. And I was just talking to somebody about this earlier today. You never feel like you're doing enough, ever. I try to go above and beyond at work. I try to like, do my normal ask some of the rest of you going into everything, but it's my daughter is still always on my mind.
Right.
So there is a part of my brain that's just going to be forever occupied. Then when you get home, you want to give all your energy to your kid. And you even feel guilty if I have an email go off on my phone for work and I'm like, "Oh shoot, I need to answer that." But what would I rather do? Play with my daughter on the floor and enjoy her and hearing her giggle and enjoy those wonderful, lovely moments where she could take her first step, or read an email on my phone and it's like, I have to answer the email. I have to take care of it and try to do it as quick as possible and then look back over and hope I didn't miss anything magical. You have to be the master of everything and have enough time for everybody, everything, every single request. And then somehow magically also find time for yourself and not feel bad about it. It's a
Right.
lot, definitely a lot. Yes, it's still a challenge. Even though my daughter is a year old, I'm still working on that balance, but I'm starting to like work out again. I've gone out for a couple times with the girls and gotten drinks in the day. Trying to do things like that and starting to learn that it's okay to not spend every single moment with my daughter, but as much as like I want to.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I know we had some conversations about how you felt guilty. So it's nice to see you taking baby steps and to grow
Right.
and know she's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And that it's okay to take a little bit of time, even if it's just 30 minutes for
Right. And
yourself.
it all helps. It's all worth it. You can't keep everyone warm by lighting yourself on fire.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
that's a good quote.
Yeah. You gotta fill up your cup. You gotta make sure that you can do a little bit of stuff for you. It's just it's so hard to just try to find that balance as a mom, and especially a working mom, and being the type of position that I am. It's a very, very
It's
busy position.
demanding. It's
Yeah.
demanding. Let's
Yeah.
be real.
Yeah, I am busy constantly.
You're on call, basically.
Yeah, yeah. And it's an amazing cause and everything, but yeah, you're 100% on call. So it's like, I just hope that I don't get a call and miss like, the first time she actually just starts like just zooming, like walking, like, those kind of things are just like, and it's like, you're going to miss some things, it just naturally happens, but it's like, it's so hard. It's so hard, and everybody expects you to be exactly like how you were. And you're like, I'm a totally different person now.
Nope, you have evolved, and this is a whole new layer to you in your personality and your life now.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I'm an onion with layers, that's for sure.
I was thinking about where I was when I was in my early 20s versus now, and like how much I have changed.
Yeah.
Have you had time to even think about that from like where you were in your early 20s and what you cared about versus like now you're in your 30s, you have a husband, you have a daughter, you have all of this going on. Where are you at? How do you compare the two? How much have you grown?
Oh, so much. I was a dumpster fire. Like my priorities in my early 20s, I wanted to have a good time, but I also was very success oriented. I was in the hunt for a degree. And once I got the degree, I was like, all right, how can I climb the ladder to success? That cash, work out, have fun with Dane at that point, because him and I started dating when I was 21. We were children.
Your babies.
We were babies and we were just having a good time together. It was a lot of fun, and also just hunting the success. And now all throughout my 20s, I was just grinding, 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 grinding. And my 30s have been really a path of self-discovery and understanding myself more and why I behave the way I do and why I have, certain tendencies. Now becoming a mom in my 30s and knowing myself a little bit more going into the whole experience, like it was helpful, and like now I've changed even more and I've developed more emotionally.
Mm.
I never thought I'd be doing, wake window math the way that I do, and, all the things that are in my brain. I'm like, okay, well, if she wakes up at this time, that means this, that means that means this, and all these different things. I am a totally different person. Things that used to just set me off. I've always been a very feisty individual, but every situation is so different. It's wild. It's so wild. I'm a completely different person, I'd say. Like in the core beliefs, obviously not, but I'm the same person, but a more mature individual.
Yes.
Trauma does that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then have you had a chance to even deal with that trauma yet?
I I did start going to therapy to talk about it, and like that has helped. One of my best friends is a therapist, and I was like, "That's what you're here for." And she's like, "No." I'm like, "Okay." But please, she's like, "Ash, like, talk to somebody, it'll help." And I've always been of the mindset, no, I'm fine, I'm fine. It's also kind of like a cultural thing, like, no, you're good. You're fine. Going to therapy once a week, it has been helping, taking a step back, processing the emotions, processing what happened, and knowing what she's really helped me with is when I do get those anxious thoughts, when I do have those feelings about what happened and everything, looking at my daughter and taking account into how she is now, not seeing
Hmm.
her as that fragile NICU baby, because she's not
Right.
that baby anymore. I'm not the same person I was then either. Looking at her and taking account, it's like, okay, she's a totally different baby now. She's strong, she's independent. She's a very independent chick. She's so funny. She's feral, she's sweet, she's lovey, all these things. And look at her and you wouldn't be able to tell.
Right.
She's just
Right.
tiny. She's just small. But it's helped a lot. It's helped a lot. And then hearing a lot of people, knowing that a lot of other people are in therapy too,
Hmm.
helps it feel more normalized. A lot of
Yeah.
people in our generation are
There
now,
are people who need it.
yeah,
I honestly think everybody needs therapy. I think it's a healthy thing to do. And even
100%.
even couples therapy, I think everyone should do.
Oh yeah, everybody should. And it's just like having that third party perspective. And sometimes even just having that validation that what you're going through and all the feelings that you have are valid. Just
Right.
hearing that from a third party is it feels so good.
Yeah. Really great for processing and helping
Yeah.
you kind of helping you see patterns or things that are no longer serving you and helping giving you better tools
I
is
hate it when
so
she makes
helpful.
me see patterns. I hate it. She's like, that's interesting. She'll connect the dots. She's like, what do you think that means? I'm like, oh, God. And then it's like, oh, like maybe we should unpack that. I'm like, no, bitch, leave it in the box.
No.
Like, we're fine. We can leave that box over there where it belongs. No, we're not allowed to do that. We have to process it. Okay, crap. Then you have to take that damn box. And that's, you wish you could be like Yzma from like Emperor's New Groove. Yeah. I put that box in another box. I put that box in another box. And then I mail
Yep.
that box to myself. And when it arrives, I'll smash it with a hammer. That's what you want to do. But you can't
Yeah.
do that. You got to open the box and process the emotions.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, I have the final two questions for you.
Yeah.
And what are you most proud of about yourself with this whole journey that you've been on? And what are you most proud of in the past year?
God, I'm just so proud of like my little family and how we've grown, like as a little unit and how we operate and how we just do things on a day to day that just fill me up. Like we don't have to be doing anything, but it makes me feel so good. I've never had that kind of happiness before, and I'm just proud of that. All the hard work that we did, everything just it's just like this amazing pure little unit. It's so nice. I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of that.
I love that. What I noticed personally with you coming back and having your family, I feel like you're more grounded.
Yeah.
I don't, for whatever reason, I just feel like you haven't changed personality wise, but I just feel like your energy is more grounded,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
No, I agree. It's realizing what actually matters and the things that just okay.
Mm,
It's out of my control. Okay.
yep.
I can't do anything about it. I have
Yep.
other
Just
things
let
I
it
need to worry
go.
about. Let it go.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been such a grounding experience. It's wild. It's absolutely wild.
And the final question is, what advice would you give to new moms, especially those moms that have their NICU babies?
I would say take it step by step. Take it step by step. Try to find those pockets of joy. Try to give yourself some grace to process it and just know that you're doing great. You're doing a good job. It'll be okay. Take it step by step and give yourself some grace. That's all you can
I
hope
love
for.
that. I love that. I love that so much.
Huh.
Well, thank you, Ashlynn, for sharing your story because we actually haven't talked about it in detail
Yeah,
until
no, we
now,
hadn't.
which is
There
great.
you
So
go.
now we have it. And, I know this is going to help a lot of like new moms, especially like, people thinking about having a family. I think it's important for people to hear different stories
Yeah.
and just to know that sometimes it's not going to be like the smoothest route, but in the end, things will come together and you know, will work the way that they're supposed to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
You will get out of the NICU. It will happen. You will get out of the NICU. You will bring your baby home. And it's all worth it. And then they will become feral toddlers. And you're like, oh crap.
Yes. And then your hands will be full until they're like 18 or 19 years old.
Oh my God. It's wild. It's exhausting, but it's
Oh my
amazing.
gosh. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you,
Thank you for
Ashlynn, for
having
your
me.
time. And to our audience, we'll see you guys next week. And remember, you are worthy of all great things in life, love, joy, and happiness. And I look forward to seeing you all in our next podcast.